Welcome to the Project Management Prepcast, helping you prepare for the PMP exam. Here's your instructor, Cornelius Fichtner.
Hello and welcome one last time to the Project Management Prepcast, where we have hopefully shown you that taking the PMP exam is not as daunting as it may at first appear. I'm your instructor, Cornelius Fichtner, and yes, this is the final lesson of the Project Management Prepcast, and I hope that you have enjoyed watching the course lessons just as much as we have enjoyed making them for you. But even more, I hope that you have learned a lot and that you feel ready to go out and take the exam. If so, then we have reached our goal. In this lesson, we want you to give us your feedback about how you enjoyed this course. But more than that, we also want you to give your lessons learned to the community of all those who come after you studying for the PMP exam. We also would like you to recommend us to your colleagues at work and your colleagues at your local PMI chapter. I also want to talk about why I teach the way I teach here on the Project Management Prepcast, and we have a lot of other services, most of them are free, that will help you in your career as a project manager and PMP. Now that you have probably watched most lessons of the PM Prepcast, it would be great to hear your feedback. We have a survey available out there and we ask all students for their anonymous responses. We send a link to this survey to everyone via email, but you can also find the link in the student handbook in the section for this lesson. In the survey, we ask for your opinion on a number of topics like, did we meet the learning goals? Are you satisfied with the content of the lessons? Did the instructional methods help you learn? Do you like the style in which I teach? And of course, we also want to hear your ideas on what we can do better. The survey is, of course, regularly reviewed, and based on your and everybody else's responses, we will make improvements to the PM Prepcast. So please do take a moment and give us your feedback via this survey. Thank you. But we would also like you to give back and help others who are studying for the exam. If you watched the welcome lesson of the Prepcast and you remember that at the end of that lesson I told you that one of the best ways to prepare for the exam is by reading lessons learned from others, well, now it's your time to give back. It's your time to go and write and post your lessons learned. Please go to pmprepcast.com/LL, that's lessons learned, and tell everyone about how you studied. Remember, your success story will be of benefit to a great many students who come after you. So do take a moment and go a little bit into the details about which books and courses you used, how long you studied, how many hours a day you studied, and try to include any tips and tricks that you find helpful. But please, don't mention any actual questions that you had on your exam. Both PMI and we frown strongly upon that. In fact, one of the clauses in your exam application states that you will not be disclosing any detailed questions from the exam to others. And before we forget, you do know that you received 35 contact hours for studying with the PM Prepcast, don't you? It's really simple and straightforward on how to get your certificate. First of all, watch all the lessons of the Prepcast. That is, of course, a prerequisite. They will teach you all the concepts that you need to know for your PMP exam. But watching the lessons also prepares you for our final exam. You must pass this final exam before you can print the certificate. We do this because PMI requires an end-of-course assessment. Otherwise, the contact hours aren't valid. The final exam is a multiple choice test in the style of the PMP exam. It's 25 questions long, and you have to answer 17 of these 25 questions correctly in order to pass the exam. But don't worry, the final exam, while it isn't super easy, it's also not too hard. If you have actively watched our lessons, you will have no trouble passing it. And of course, once you pass, you can print your certificate for the 35 contact hours or PDUs. Please watch the video in lesson 00.40 where I show you how the final exam works in detail. As you listen to the PM Prepcast, have you ever wondered if I have an opinion of my own about everything that I'm teaching? After all, I am teaching these concepts to you without talking much about my own personal opinions. I don't talk much about the positive or negatives of a tool and how it could be applied in real-life projects or what I personally think about things. Well, there is a reason for this, but first, of course, I have an opinion. For example, I feel that earned value has way too much focus for the exam. Most of us only learn it for the exam and we promptly forget about it. I also feel that there are some concepts in the exam content outline that are so rarely used in real life that teaching them for this exam causes almost more confusion to the students than it has value for them in real life. But you know what? My opinion isn't going to help you pass the exam, but the concepts that we teach to you in the Prepcast, they will help you pass the exam. And this is what the Prepcast is all about. I want to help you pass the PMP exam, or the CAPM exam if you're watching it for that. And the only way to do this is by teaching you the knowledge that you need to know and hold back my own opinion. But if you really want to hear my opinion, then I suggest that you listen to the Project Management Podcast. I've been doing this podcast for free since 2005, and you can find it at pm-podcast.com. It's a great way to stay current with project management developments. We discuss both traditional as well as agile concepts. And the good news is that listening to this podcast qualifies for a maximum of 30 Category C PDUs. PMI mentions the word podcast explicitly as a PDU earning opportunity in the CCRS specifications. Remember, the PMP exam is not for life, and you must earn 60 PDUs every 3 years to keep the certification alive. And the 30 free PDUs from the PM podcast, well, they help a lot. However, if by listening to the Project Management Prepcast and then continuing on to the PM podcast, you're beginning to feel a little bit sick of my voice, well, why not give all of these people here a try? Next to the PM podcast, I'm also the creator and host of the PDU podcast. And these folks are the presenters on our PDU podcast webinars. The big difference between the PDU podcast and the PM podcast is that with the PDU podcast, you will earn Category A PDUs. You can earn an unlimited number of PDUs here. The system works in such a way that you receive a new webinar from one of our presenters every month. And this will allow you to get your PDUs anywhere, even at the gym. If you are working out, you can listen to one of these webinars or can watch it on the bus as you are commuting to work. You can simply watch the webinar presentations, you earn your PDUs, and then next month, well, you repeat the whole thing. In this way, you have a continuing method of earning your PDUs month by month over time. Please do take a look at the PDU podcast, and you can find it at pducast.com. That's pducast.com. I'm fully aware that there is no way that I could possibly answer all questions that you may have about PDUs in this presentation here. That's what the PDU Insider is for. I created the PDU Insider as a free website and newsletter. I wanted to offer this service to my students and the general PMI community to help everyone understand how PDUs work. On the website and in the monthly newsletter, you will find a PDU FAQ. We will give you PDU tips and PDU links and frankly PDU anything that you may want. So if you have a question about PDUs, simply go to PDU Insider and take a look around. And of course, if you have a question that is not answered on that website, simply write to Ask Cornelius at pduinsider.com and I will personally answer any questions that you may have about PDUs and publish the answer in the next newsletter as well. And I also wanted to mention that we have an affiliate program. Nowadays, many people have their own website, maybe even you have a blog about project management, or you have a website for your project management company. If you liked the Project Management Prepcast, then you can become an affiliate. Advertise the Project Management Prepcast via your website and earn commission on every sale that you make. To learn more about the affiliate program and signing up for it today, please go to pmprepcast.com/affiliates. Here you can read up on what exactly the program is and how you can benefit from it. To close out this final lesson of the Project Management Prepcast, I have two sets of take action recommendations for you. One set to take care of before your exam and one set for after. If your exam is still ahead of you and you have watched most of the Prepcast lessons, then it's time for you to schedule your PMP exam. I'm serious, you need to get your date. If PMI has accepted your application, with or without having to go through an audit, and you have received your eligibility letter from PMI, so it's now time to get an exam date. Knowing the exam date is a great motivator. You not only have a goal, you can also be more focused to prepare for the exam. If you know that you have your exam in 5 weeks, you really have more motivation to study. But you may ask, what if something happens in my personal life that needs my full attention and I need to reschedule? Isn't there a fee for rescheduling my exam? Well, yes, there is that, but only if you reschedule your exam within the last 30 days before your appointment. If the exam is more than 30 days ahead of you, then there won't be any cost. But frankly, I feel the motivational aspects of setting your exam to be much more valuable than worrying about the rescheduling fee. At this time in your studies, it's also normal to look ahead and realize that you are getting close to the end. And the risk that you are facing right now is that you might begin to ease off. You might begin to say to yourself that, well, since I've studied so hard until now, watched all these lessons, and whatever is left to review before the exam doesn't really look all that difficult, so I just could pull back right now and ease a little bit off, right? Well, let's translate this into your own projects. Let's assume that you have just closed the production phase and that you're now moving into installation and user training. So tell me, as a project manager, is this the moment on your project when you would relax, when you would pull back, or when you wouldn't give everything that you still have got? No, you wouldn't. So even though you can see the end of the PMP project approaching, you know now more than ever you have to keep your focus, keep your momentum, and keep your motivation going. That will help you to successfully finish your project. This is why I expect you to apply your experience as a project manager to your PMP exam studies. Keep your momentum, keep your enthusiasm. Continue at the same pace and rhythm. Focus on what's really important to be able to put those 3 letters, PMP, behind your name. And once you have successfully passed your exam, then I want you to celebrate right away. Go ahead, let everyone know. As soon as you see the word congratulations on the screen in the testing center, you can officially call yourself a PMP. There is no waiting time whatsoever. And one of the ways to let the world know is, of course, by writing and posting your lessons learned. Please do give back to all the others who come after you and help them out a bit. Because you are now certified, you have to earn those PDUs. And the first step towards earning is learning. So go ahead and sign up for the PDU Insider newsletter. And let me show you that PDUs are both pretty easy to understand and also easy to come by. And the easiest way to earn 30 of these PDUs is with the Project Management Podcast at pm-podcast.com/PDU. And yes, they are truly 100% free. And now, before I go, I wish you all the best for your PMP exam. Take a deep breath, click the Start Exam button, and good luck. Remember, you have studied hard, and you can do this. And with that, we have come to the end of this lesson and of the Project Management Prepcast. So it's time for Justine to say,
until next time.
And I say, until another time.